Hi everyone, I'm Sachin, co-founder and CEO of Niki. I'm going to talk about building voice solution in emerging markets. So if you look at the evolution of the internet economy, it has touched the lives of billions of people across the world, and everywhere it has brought great increase in consumption because of easy access, and it has also brought in efficiency into the ecosystem, and has really helped a lot of users make most of the time that they have, and ensured efficient utilization of the entire ecosystem, right? But uh, but but it has still been restricted to a large segment of population that are that are largely um, uh, that are largely being catered to with multiple amount of with umpteen number of services. But there's a large segment of population across the world that is still unserved, and and a voice solution could actually be the gateway to unlock internet economy for the next 3 billion users that across the world today. And today I'm going to talk about a case study from an emerging market, India. And before I deep dive, let me quickly uh, take you through the profile of such user. And one such user is Lokesh. Comes from a small town called Kanpur. It's a tier 4 town in India, and he's dependent on agents, on people for any service that he wants, right? And dominantly, he's a vernacular first user, doesn't understand English, and really speaks native language here in India, and he would prefer communication in his own native language, and extremely value conscious, and he earns his day-to-day income in cash, which is why digital transaction per se is still cumbersome, because every day he has to go and deposit money in his bank account. And this was a revelation for us that he uses smartphone only as a TV, right? There are close to half a billion population like Lokesh who use smartphone only as a TV, and they use it for watching Bollywood music video on YouTube, or watching random videos on TikTok, right? And that's all he does with the internet. For us, the internet has been so powerful, it has empowered us. But for this user, he only uses it as entertainment, and he's extremely scared of digital transaction. His fear is, if he makes a transaction, he might make a mistake, he might press the wrong button, he would not understand it, and his money might get stuck. And naturally, he's stuck with agents, right? For his utility services, he goes to a government uh, e-mitra shop. For buying insurance, he relies on agents, LIC agents. For booking his travel reservations, he relies on travel agent. For buying staples, he goes to a mandi agent. So for everything that he wants, he has an agent that he goes to, and spends close to 2,000 rupees per year across these agent shops, and pays close to 6% every year as surcharge to agents, right? Which roughly translates to $120 that he pays as surcharge just for this agent service. And he wastes 100 hours every year dealing with them, right? And it's it's a it's a huge amount of inefficiency that he has, because he's not yet empowered, right? And close to 500 million users like Lokesh use internet only as a TV. If you look at the internet evolution, it started from entertainment all the way to commerce. But in India, only about 50 million users who understand English are the ones who are using internet as extensively. And the rest of the 500 million people have been stuck at entertainment for a while now. And as a result of that, because this user is stuck is only using internet for entertainment purposes, he doesn't get the benefit that the rest of us take it for granted, right? He doesn't get the best value for money. He's still dependent on these agents for any service that he wants, and as a result of that, he doesn't get the best quality service, and doesn't have choice, right? And because his his he is still limited to the choices that the agent offers. Most of the consumption that he does is only for those options that the agent can offer. And as a result of that, because his trust is skewed towards those agents, hundreds of billions of dollars in consumption is stunted. right? And if you look at the reasons why the current app ecosystem was not at all built for this emerging market UX, right? Because and there are obvious reasons, there are non-obvious reasons. The obvious one is that he's not comfortable interacting in English, and granted, language is a big barrier that he's dealing with, and more than 95% of the entire internet is in English. But beyond just the language issue, there have been multiple attempts, by the way, to solve for the language issue, even in India. But it has not yet driven the kind of adoption that you would expect, right? And the major reason is that the current UX is too complicated for them, right? For example, you want to type in a vernacular language such as Hindi. You want to type Hindi in the language Hindi. It is ha, e ki matra, half letter na. So there are letters, half letters, accents, and it's extremely difficult to type in vernacular languages, right? So, which is why we are seeing a very different India emerge, right? They have this habit of asking for things, right? When they want to watch a video, they ask YouTube. They tap on that voice icon and they talk to it. They call it "हम तो बोल के videos मंगाते हैं." And today, close to 50% of all YouTube searches happen through voice in India. 40% of all Google searches happen through voice in India. So voice as a UX is picking up extremely fast because this this user base needs simpler form of interaction. And secondly, this user, they lack confidence and they need this agent-like assistance, right? For example, with my mom, I literally have to sit next to her and give her step-by-step instruction as to how to really use an app. If there is some sort of digital assistance available for these new internet users, it could be massive. And that is the problem that we're trying to solve with Niki. Uh, problem that really addresses 90% of the population in India. And we spent the last 3 years in building a solution that works for them. And we've and it's extremely important, especially if you're trying to address a problem for a very new market segment, that you do your market research very well. And incidentally, all four of us in the founding team, we come from small towns across the country, so that helps. But beyond that as well, we spent a lot of time in rural India, in small towns of India, to really understand the pain point that this user is dealing with, and that helped us really tweak the product, tweak the experience to this new internet user. For example, when we were initially thinking about building the user experience, we thought that just voice alone could be an answer, and therefore, whenever the user talks to the app in using the voice option, only then Niki would respond in voice. But that did not work. They wanted consistent talk back from the app. It's a behavior that is unheard of among users like us because we prefer impersonal communication. But this user, they want digital assistance, and that's why they preferred that kind of communication. And we got present to it only because we were doing very focused on ground research to understand the pain point that this user is dealing with. And this is how we built the app. It's a mechanism of offering digital assistance through an agent like experience. And how it works is that users talk to Niki in their own language. Niki understands it, comprehends it, puts the corresponding action, and then reports back to the user. And then, just like an agent, Niki offers assistance in selection. From a plethora of service providers, Niki offers assistance in selection. If the users have any question, they can ask Niki about the product that they're buying. For example, if they're looking to buy staples, they can ask questions to Niki, and Niki answers them. Um, and really handholds them through the entire production journey, through the entire purchase journey. And and just like an agent, Niki also procures on the user's behalf. Users uh, can look for an item, and then Niki will go and deliver it for the user, and also ensure quality and fulfillment. And they can pay as they like. There's no extra cost involved. They can pay using cash, digital payment options, and we offer a single point of resolution for these users. There's a video call based support that they access, so that if in case of an issue they don't panic. They can always access handy help whenever they get stuck, right? And this is the solution that we built. It's internet commerce in a style that's natural to them. So here, people can actually talk to Niki in their own language, and Niki responds to them. So here is a user
नमस्ते,
talking.
आज आप क्या करना चाहेंगे?
आटा खरीदना है।
So as you can
बढ़िया,
see,
राशन खरीदने में
it's a
मदद
mix of
करूंगी।
visual,
जिस स्थान पर राशन पहुंचाना है कृपया
conversational
उस स्थान का पिन कोड
and
बताएं।
actionable UX elements.
80013
And it is optimized for this user journey. And it's
হ্যালো,
available
আপনি আজ কি করতে চান?
across
নিচের
multiple Indian
বিকল্পগুলি থেকে
languages.
বেছে নিন।
কারেন্ট বিল পে করব।
And here the user is talking to Nikki
ঠিক
in
আছে, আমি
Bengali.
আপনার ইলেকট্রিসিটি বিল দিতে সাহায্য করব। আপনি কত টাকার ইলেকট্রিসিটি বিল দিতে চান?
And really that hand holding goes a long way in helping this user make a transactional journey with Nikki. And it is already impacting millions of lives. Lal, who comes from a small town called Chomu, he's not very educated, and he sells saris in small villages, and he studied till class 5th in a Hindi medium school. But thanks to Nikki, he's been able to uh, save time every month, which means that he can save 8 hours every month. That means that he can sell sari in one more village, and it means that he can earn 4,000 rupees more income, and that translates to better education for his kids, right? And similarly, Mahesh, who comes from a small town called Patna, he sells medicines, and he used to rely on his staff for basic services, and he was too scared of doing an online transaction because he was like, what if I make a mistake? But now he's been using Nikki for about 6 months now, and his premise is that he's gained the confidence that he can do things on his own, right? And last month alone, we have saved over 2 million hours for users, vernacular users. And the solution that we built, it is ideally suited for these new internet users, and they need assistance. There is a large segment of population that is as yet unserved, and they need assistance, and we need to completely rethink how the next generation of products will look like, especially for these new internet users. And that is one problem that we are trying to address with Nikki. Um, Thanks a lot for taking the time to listen to the presentation. Happy to answer any questions you have.